Welcome to the 5 things you need to know to be successful using Google Classroom, the COVID-19 edition. This is a short tutorial that's geared for folks who have never used Google Classroom. Are we going to cover everything? Absolutely not. But I want to focus on the 5 things you really need to know to successfully use Google Classroom with your students. Let's get started. Here's today's agenda for our Google Classroom discussion. We'll start with how you access Classroom and then take a look at understanding key settings. Not all the settings, just the ones I think you really need to pay attention to. We'll then explore adding a co-teacher, especially helpful for folks that are co-teaching with folks now or have a partner. Then the bulk of the presentation will be with communicating with students, either using the stream or Classwork, and then we'll get into grading and feedback. So let's begin with how to access. There are several ways to access your Google Classroom, but I'm just going to share 2 with you here. One is to go to classroom.google.com. The other is to go into your Google Drive, click on the Apps Launcher, or as my students affectionately refer to it as the Waffle House, and click on Classroom. Either way, you've got to be signed into your school Google account. This is not going to work on a personal Gmail account. Once you get into Classroom, you'll see that there's a plus at the top. From there, you click on the plus. The kids will do Join Classroom, but you as a teacher will do Create a Classroom, and all you really need is the name. Now, I know the technology folks are working to see if they can do this automatically and have the kids join the classrooms automatically. So that's coming. But for right at this moment, this is how you create a class. And then the kids would go into Classroom just the same way we did, same way, and they would hit join, and we would give them the code. The code will be displayed in the stream on your landing page, and it's right here in tiny print. But if you click on this little icon, it'll push it out to full screen. So until technology gets it together that they'd automatically do it, this is how you'll be able to have your kids join your Google Classroom. Okay, moving along, let's take a look at settings. So where are your settings in Google Classroom? Your settings in Google Classroom are in the top right, and it's this cog. Once you click on the cog, you will get several types of settings. All we're going to look at is general. And we're just going to look at the second one down that says stream. You might notice that your class code shows up here again, but the default view to stream is students can post and comment. That means that they can start a discussion, they can talk to their friends, they can have a whole chat room. I would suggest that you click on this little downward arrow and make the selection of students can only comment. That means that you will start the discussion in stream and they'll be able to comment, but they won't be able to start a discussion on their own. If we were in the classroom all the time, I would suggest you even go to they can only view. But since we're looking at this as a communications tool in the event that we're not in the classroom, students can only comment is the way to go. Now, what if you have a student that you really need to mute because they just can't manage the responsibility of commenting? Not a problem. And not in stream, but if you go to people, and then you'll see your students down here, under actions, there's mute. You click on the student's name and it'll give you a message saying, are you sure you want to mute this student? You go ahead and say yes. So everyone else will be able to comment on your post, but this student will not be able to. And they'll figure it out pretty quickly. Adding a co-teacher. If you don't have a co-teacher, take a Zen moment here. You don't need to pay much attention. But if you do have a co-teacher, you're going to want to add them to your classroom. Again, you go to people, and this time we're not down at the bottom with students. We're up at the top with teachers. Click on the Add Teacher icon, and a box will come up where you can type their email address. They'll get an email and they accept, and then they will have all these same privileges that you have in your classroom. The only difference is that they can't delete the class where you can. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay, the meat of the discussions, communicating with students using the stream. Let's see what we've got. In Google Classroom, you have several tabs, Stream being the first one, Classwork, People, we just looked at briefly for muting students or adding co-teachers, and Grades. We're not going to worry about grades at all. When you click on Stream, you'll get a box that says Share something with your students. You have a lot of options. You can select the class, all the students, some of the students. Your message can go in here. You can attach a variety of things, Google Drive, link, file, YouTube video. And then when you're ready to push it out, you can hit post. You can even use the downward arrow to schedule things or save them as a draft. But this will go out to all students and it'll be on their front page. Pros and cons. The great thing about Stream is it always appears on the student's landing page, so it's very hard for them to miss it. The newest post is always on top. That's a plus as well. They don't have to look down through things. Some of the cons are you can't rearrange the order of posts, and sometimes the page can get messy. There's no tracking of student responses. They can't turn anything in from here. They can respond to posts if you allowed them. And there's no private comment. Everything is put in the stream. Every student in the class will see. So if I've got a particular question that I want to share privately on the stream, I'm not going to be able to do it. But it is pretty straightforward, and I kind of think of it as what I write on the board or what I'd say as a do now. It's just kind of an announcement. Again, you can add files and links to it as well. How about using Classwork? That's our other main way of communicating with the students. So let's see what that tab has to offer. So the Classwork tab will take you to a place where you can create and you can assign work to your class. And you can assign a lot of different things. We're not going to look at all of them today. We're only going to look at 2 of them. You can create an assignment. Think of that as whether you want the student to submit work, turn something into you. It could be a Google Doc, a slide, a spreadsheet, it could be a video, it could be anything. And we're going to look at material. Think of that as a place where you can provide resources to the student. So don't worry about the other things in between. That's for another day or for another video, but not for today. So let's take a look at adding materials. So we've gone into Classwork, we've clicked Create, and we've clicked Materials. We'll then have some choices. Again, what class does it go to? Does it go to all the students or some of the students? You need to put a title in here, or resources for two-step equations, or resources for History Chapter 1, or unit resources, or resources for Thursday. You don't need a description, but you are going to need a title. And again, look at what you can do. You can attach a file from Google or your device, a YouTube video, or a link. Just like the stream, you can post it. It will go right away. You can schedule it for a later time, or if you're not ready to do it yet, you can simply save the draft. And you can add multiple items. So if you have 4 YouTube videos you want them to watch, you could add 4 YouTube videos as resources. So you can add probably 10 or 12 things under each resource material that you post. So to recap, materials are resources, great variety of things, files from your machine, Google Drive, YouTube, or links. You have options in terms of scheduling it, and all you have to do is title it. The student could read. There's not a great place for the student to respond here. It's just for you to share information to them. If you're looking for something for the student to be able to respond back to you, then you want to use an assignment. Let's take a look at how that works. So we've gone back to Classroom, create an assignment. Here's what you get. Again, what class? All students, some students, you can actually check off specific ones. You need a title. You don't need instructions, but you can put them in there. This is new. We haven't seen this before. You can make it points with a graded up to whatever point, 100 points, 10 points, 15 points, or no mark. You can make it ungraded. You can put a due date in or not. Let's not worry about topics now. That's something for another video. And you can attach, again, files from your device, Google Drive files, YouTube video, or a link. And the assign features work the same way as they do in Stream and the same way as they did with materials. Post, it goes out immediately. Scheduled, you pick a time and a date when you want it to go out, or save as draft, and it just saves as a draft until you go back and activate it. This is a really important tip, which I didn't realize until I was using Google Classroom full time. Use numbers and a hashtag to title your assignment. For example, hashtag 001, hashtag 002. It's really easy for the students to get confused which one came first. When am I supposed to do this? Did I do this one? The titles, if you just use names, all kind of run together. So I would definitely suggest using the hashtag with a numbering system. It'll keep you organized and it'll help keep your students organized. Now, there are pros and cons with Classwork as well. The pros, you can share a variety of items, resources, assignments that can be turned in. So you can track responses. You'll know that I turned mine in and someone did not. Students can also send you a private comment. This will only come to you. The rest of the class will not see it. The cons are, it's not the first thing the student sees. It may show up on the Stream page, but they really have to get to the Classwork page and open the assignment to see it. All right, let's just pause and see where we've been for a second. Let's just go back here. We know how to get onto Google Classroom. We're really keyed in on changing that setting about students can only comment, not post. For those that you need it, you can add a co-teacher by inviting them. They have all the same privileges and rights that you will have. We've looked at communicating using the Stream. Again, the Stream is an announcement. You can't track things. There's nothing private conversations, but you can share all kinds of files and videos with students. Then we looked at Classwork. Classwork allows you to send assignments as well as resources, materials. Classwork allows you to see who's turned it in, who hasn't turned it in. Classwork allows a student to send you a private comment with a specific question. Okay, let's move on to grading and feedback. And this is something that I'm going to step you through. I have a handout for you as well, that you really just need to do it a couple of times for it to make sense. Okay, how do you get started? Like most things, you open Classroom, go to Classwork, and click on the assignment. I've opened the assignment here, and I can tell it's an assignment because it has this clipboard icon. You then click on View Assignment, and all your little icons of your students' work will show up. Let's just run that back again. Go to Classroom, go to Classwork tab, click on the assignment so it opens it up so you can see all this information, who's turned it in, what's graded, who didn't turn it in yet. Then click on View Assignment, and then you'll have little thumbnails for all your students' work. Now, before we talk about grading, let's talk about adding a comment. Perhaps you're not ready to put a grade on it, but you want to provide some kind of feedback to the students. Google Classroom makes that very easy. You, highlight the text, and then you're going to add the Add a comment icon. It looks like this. Sometimes it's a little cranky, then you can go to Insert Comment, but most of the time this will show up, and this box will open on the right-hand side. Here's where you can type in your comment. When you're done, you'll hit Comment, and it'll be attached to the student document. Let's take a look at that one more time. So we're in Google Classroom. We went to Classwork. We went to Assignment. We opened the assignment. We view the student work. Here's the student work on the right-hand side. To add a comment, you highlight. This button will pop up. Click on it. This window will open for you. You can type in your comment here. Hit Comment, and you're good to go. Now, Remember I mentioned that students can provide private comments to you? This is a window the student sees in the assignment feature. This was the assignment up here, tells you it was assigned. Here's the private client comment section. So they can send you a private comment on any assignment that you do in Classwork. Notice that in Stream, you will not have that option. Grading. If you wanted to grade and add a private comment, you don't have to do both of them. They both work independently. You're going to click on the grade icon, and then it's going to give you this box will show up. I made this a 100-point assignment. I can put the grade in here. And right below it, there's a place for private comments. The private comments look just like the private comment does here from the student side. You put in the information and then you hit send and the comment will go. So I'm not sure if we'll get into grading, but if you did want to grade, you would grade here. And then I'd put a comment below. And they're independent of each other. So you don't need to grade in order to put in a private comment. And again, all this information, the pictures and the step-by-step are on the handout. This is really important. When a student submits work, the ownership of that document goes from the student to you. The student they can unsubmit it, but you really need to return it to them. So you want to click the return button at the top, and you can return one document at a time, one student at a time, or all of them at a time, and then they can resubmit it to you. So they're not going to see this grade until you click the return button. So please email me with any questions or concerns. This is my short tutorial on the top 5 things you need to know to be successful using Google Classroom.